Okay. So this forum, it's not just an event, it's a commitment to ensure that national planning and public policy are informed by the realities, the ideas, and aspirations of the people they are designed to serve. We are especially honored this evening by the President of the People's National Party, the Honorable Mr. Mark Golding. His leadership continues to emphasize. We are also joined by a distinguished panel of presenters, each of whom plays a vital role in shaping Jamaica's national policy agenda for when we do form the next government. So, to my left, we have MP Philip Paulwell, Shadow Minister, Energy and Climate. He promises an electrifying presentation about energy and climate, no pun intended. We already introduced our party leader and president. So to his left, we have Dr. Deborah Hickling Gordon, Shadow Minister on Culture and Creative Enterprise, and she's going to be speaking to us today on the 5 Gs of the Cultural Economic Strategy. And he needs no introduction, but I'll introduce him nonetheless. Entrepreneurship. So each speaker brings a wealth of knowledge, but more importantly, they're here to listen. Because this forum is not only about what's coming next, it's about what matters most to you. So, as a councillor and as Junior Shadow Minister in local government, I know that change happens closest to home. Policy must connect with people's daily lives. And that's what we're about today. That's why the People's Session, the session in which you ask your questions after you have listened to these presentations, is at the heart of tonight's agenda. It's the item that actually has the most time. It's your space to ask questions, offer ideas, and help shape the direction of our communities and our country. So I encourage you to take part fully, because when we speak together, plan together, and act together, People Time Come becomes not just a theme, but it becomes a turning point. Thank you for your presence again, your insight, and your belief that democracy works best. So please join me in receiving the chairman for Region 3 and deputy spokesperson on health and wellness. He needs no introduction either, but if you want to guess, you can just go ahead. He's Councillor Dennis Gordon, parliamentary candidate for East Central.
Internet, I get trouble, man. I want to eat tonight.
Hey, Andrew.
Good night, Marcia. Margaret.
Good afternoon. She's from the great constituency of East Central. We produce them like that. My task is really to welcome you to the forum. It's the People's Forum, which is your forum. And
oh my gosh, what happened to this thing tonight? All on the people, give me a chance there.
And this evening we'll have robust discussion on various areas. That's how we intend to cover when the venue for persons. So again, I don't want to say.
You know, so I know so we ain't beautiful till tonight.
Because it's a public.
The girl pretty, no man.
Please forgive me to say, comrades, welcome. Welcome, welcome. And I urge you to participate. I urge you to listen so you can have a greater appreciation for what we intend to do when next we form government. God bless you. It's always about love.
You're back in the US. I want my gift. If you're back in the US, I want my gift.
Thank you so very much. Now we will be heading right into the presentations. I think it's fitting that the first person is the first person, because we anticipate that when we do our next lineup,
are your favorite politician?
Thank you very much, Councillor Waynette.
Everybody talk about him.
I know the straw and I wasn't so familiar with the Nelson. She's doing so well though as our master of ceremonies. Yeah, man. Definitely taking it to another level. My colleagues on the platform, ladies and gentlemen, comrades all. It's indeed a pleasure for us to host our fourth in this series of town halls in which we
Oh Lord Jesus, I want to do it live. The internet guys.
commitment to the
Internet a problem,
principle
man.
of participatory democracy. We value the input, the dialogue, consultation
One market
that a
Jason.
forum like this provides for people who are interested in matters of development and matters affecting our beloved island of Jamaica. We are coming together at a time when there are reasons to think that our democracy is under threat. We see manifestations of the arrogance of power concentrated in those who hold it for
Internet not doing a favor tonight, guys. Internet a mess up the problem.
surrender Jamaica to the PNP. A repeated comment actually by a senior member of the government, a cabinet minister. And then the institutional attacks that are undermining the fabric, the architecture of accountability
True,
that
man.
has been constructed since independence and was strengthened under the last People's National Party administration when we developed the Integrity Commission legislation and brought it to Parliament. And we see where there have been efforts over the last 2 years to dismantle it or neuter it, undermine its efficacy and its powers. And in the context of the
This don't look like it a workout tonight, you know, guys.
potential offense of illicit enrichment, where we have seen the appointment of somebody not qualified and somebody who has clearly manifested bias in favor of the Prime Minister in the very matter which the FID, which he has been appointed now to head, has to investigate, is tasked with investigating. And these are
Internet not doing a favor tonight.
just the latest manifestations of a trend which included things like requiring senators to sign
Jungle Bar. The
undated
internet a
letters
breaker.
of resignation in order to
Alright, let me change my location and see. Make sure. Anna mine.
their heads in the event that they didn't choose to follow a particular position that the Prime Minister wanted them to take, where we have seen the appointment of a Chief Justice.
Anna my internet this time. Good night, Jill. Not my internet.
Again, when we successfully took that matter to court, and the courts throughout the entire legislation as being unconstitutional.
Not my internet.
Of emergency having been articulated by the opposition as to its compatibility with the rights of privacy and other rights, unprecedented fashion over a period of 6 or 7 years with over 25 states of emergency.
I wish part them they have trouble or somebody interfere with it. I don't make nothing pass the labor right them, you know.
Declared during that period, again ruled by the Constitutional Court.
No man, this not gonna work out tonight.
ballot in this upcoming election includes the very democracy, the very freedoms, the
the internet, I give peer trouble. The internet, I give peer trouble. I'm gonna try to change the location to make sure that it's not me. Alright. I'm gonna change it so might miss something, you know. No work out at all. It gone, guys. It gone. It's gone. Alright, since it's gone, let me turn on it. You know, my plan to something wrong, them come back on with it, but
higher than any other country in the Caribbean region. No, I'm not.
They say choose Jamaica, but it's clear they've been choosing themselves for nearly a decade. The PNP believe.
no, me dear, hey, my past 2 KFC are in place. So let me tell you something. Let me on the talk like because this is not a problem, you know, man.
Jamaica's public health system is broken.
Hear me.
We hear the horror stories. Long
Hear me
wait
good.
times, no beds, basic equipment. No.
I feed them, I can't feed the PNP and I get trouble on the mind. No care how me did hungry, no care how me broke, no care what, hey, me just drive past all my head straight jail. Nobody would have can offer me, could have give me 10 of them the KFC there. Hey, when me I come through Spanish Town and me say me go over Oasis. Cause me want something in the one of the shop. The line start, the drive-through line, you know, after you go through the gate, you know. I mean, if anyone upon the life know me at all. I reach like to the Scotia Bank right there, so if you go bend the corner. Go straight down, people can't get for going to them business place, you know. School picnic, hey, some of them I did it till none of them are in another line they get through. They're not going to get through. Good night, Betty. Them not get through. Hey, I plan to put on my hat, you know. That's why I'm not put on my ears. I put on my hat. What me say? Good night. Then can't get through the crowd when me see at the KFC. I say, no man, this now look good when the people them all oversee. You don't know, sir. I don't know why all of this are happening in the country. Are hungry and poverty, see here? And because they hear so them I get one of them I take it say one can share give one and one can share give one. People may say, oh, I throw KFC again. It show up the country and show desperation and it show up the poverty. What me say though? It show up the desperation, it show up the povertyness, it show up the hungriness, it show up all kind of stuff. The people all fight in a line. You pass one in a fall motor. Nobody could offer me none. Me don't want no care. I know some people get some raw food today. Some of them chicken they can't fry good to them. I don't ask Jesus. Me know. Tell me, what type in a comment what you think really and truly about this about this KFC thing. Tell me what you think. Or anybody who want to share their experience. Not only that, you know, so when I see it, I say, you know, God, so now I can't blame the hospital then because so my old people them when I sit in that the line, I don't know where the hell them are going in a line. One of the old people in a line, chicken fries in a good food no. I don't say I can bite one like a piece, but now I go get big deal and double deal. Then tomorrow I end up in the hospital, can't get in a bed. I say, KFC could argue with KFC, what money KFC make today? I don't know, I say a trick. KFC, you think 2 pieces of chicken we're making lose? The amount of money he make, and a free now. You have to buy, forget it. We like too much freeness. Good night, Antigen. All Spanish Town KFC was hey, me tell you, me pass it. Hey, me pass, me drive past the one around the Oasis Plaza. And I was going on the Brunswick. So I say, you know, I'm not going back on the highway. I'm going to drive up through the market. So I passed the one with the right round before you get to the bend. That's the first one with that Spanish Town. You know what the police them have to do? I three police them did that, me not take out my phone and because I don't want them to charge me. The police drive up the van to the door for black people from going in and make those were in there get served. That's all. That's amazing. And somebody was telling me when me come and say, them pepper spray people. Them people, why you not gonna go through all of that for one little piece of chicken? You could have taken the same money go buy 2 pieces of chicken and fry it to you know. We must get more sensible to you know. Where say I eat? And also, me just imagine up a angels there to myself. Me just imagine up a angels too. I heard that one in Mandeville glass mash up and had to close down. Douglas said true Antigen, real poverty. They smashed the glass in Sav at KFC. Hey, me tell you no. Me they tell you, say the prosperity not there and a long time. Me I tell you, I want to believe say because of politics. Me I say it. A country we have a prosperity that a soul and do them a kind of thing I forgot about. And then like I want to, thousands of people across the island today. Thousands. So it's not like it's only in one little location. It's right across Jamaica. And every one of them have the same problem. People say they farm in line from 5 o'clock this morning and the place not up until 10 o'clock. And me still want understand the dynamics of it and I can't understand it. You know. Because me eat KFC, I don't know what about KFC me could have get up out of from my bed from 5 o'clock. 2 extra pieces of chicken. It look bad. It look bad. I don't know own the seat, but I can't tell. Hold on, I will do the phone on for calling. Because tonight I'm going to call in and view and talk on the opinion. I want to think about this thing, you know. It don't look good. Sometimes it's all for real. I mostly go with the barbecue if I have to have it. I will not say I won't have it, but I'm not really full with greasy food, you know. Because I try to eat as best as I can, even though I mess up myself now, but hold on there. I forget something. I forget something I carry phone. How am I do with it now? If I make on a call in. I don't see any video of Port Maria KFC. Oh, man, I know. You so see it, man. You so it may be there on TikTok. Because TikTok put up a whole heap of them all on there. Me make sure your phone charge up so when I not call it charge up. Hold on. Mark them sitting and get trouble. Me never can carry it. Somebody a fool with that. But we talk about for store over here. Wow, hold it more charge. Hold on. Alright. So the phone line open. So Betty said I don't see any. Alright, hold on. Let me go up on TikTok and type in. Me may find this a Savlan Mall. Where's Venus, the perfect picture of prosperity? Perfect picture of prosperity. Hold on. The phone not charging them. I don't want that. Something going. Alright, so charge. Let me type in KFC. KFC 50th anniversary in Jamaica. All bad what them a cuss. If you don't hear the bad word, I don't know what in the video then so I'm not beg. How this one this? Crossroad. Now when you cross, hold on. The one I don't know if I this upstairs. For your crossroad. Crossroad KFC. Enough uncooked. Me talk that long time. They can't fry off all of them chicken there. Unless them did fry them from last night and store them up. Alright, so that's a crossroad.
It's not lunchtime, but scores of Jamaicans skipped breakfast to secure one KFC advertised as burrata in celebration of the company's 50th anniversary. People have been camping out at various locations hours before the scheduled opening, hoping to get in. From downtown Kingston to the Washington Boulevard and in Manor Park, long lines were the order of the day at the various locations. In Manor Park, we witnessed security struggling to keep the order.
I know some park, me see the line at Manor Park.
Because
Come
of
got
the absence of
passport
the
office today.
chaos reigned as people tried to skip the lines to get in. This customer explained her strategy.
I'm a smart KFC shopper, so what I did was I have some family members that love to wake up early. So they came while I slept, and right now my order is in there, and I'm just waiting. They're at number 3.
Why was it important for you to come and get chicken?
Because Uncle Colonel has been so good to us for 50 years. Oh my God, couldn't miss it.
Another customer was relieved when he got his order.
It was crazy. I was here from 6 o'clock, but I finally got my food. I was here from 6 o'clock, but I got my food.
What's it like inside?
It's crazy. It was like an ant nest. The people didn't want them chicken, but you know what they put in the chicken?
So what prompted you to come out so early now to get this chicken?
Because of the national dish and Ajans and KFC national dish.
And was it rough inside?
It was rough for me because I was first, but everybody after me, it was a royal rumble.
And you were here for what time?
About 6:10.
6:10?
Yeah.
When you came here, was there a crowd when you came
It
here?
was only me. It was only me. So seeing the crowd now, wow, people are coming out of the ground like ants.
But the burrata deal may not be available all day. The company was quick to stress that it is while stocks last. Fresh fried. It's not lunchtime, but scores of Jamaicans.
You hear okay, see, Gina? A wild stock. If I laugh at that, yeah. You let me go back and see if the something come up back here. I'm gonna say if Mark Golding something come up back.
those people. So we want to have a national screening program to catch the
You say if it come up back, yeah?
in the bud, and our people can be as healthy as possible. As I said here, healthcare is not a photo
See,
op.
man, now get none
It's a
better.
promise, and we will deliver. Yeah.
I
I want to
say,
say a few words about the education of secondary school age students who end up with 5 subjects, including English and math, meaning that 82% do not achieve even that basic standard. And we've seen recent reports of high school in Kingston. I won't even call its name because it is not unique. It is one of many high schools across the country with high levels of illiteracy in the school, 60-70% illiteracy. We have to deal with this situation, and we're looking, in doing so, we have to focus on early childhood development and primary school education and raise standards. We have to raise standards in those schools where the standards are lagging. Absenteeism. And absenteeism is often driven by poverty, by parents or single parents being unable to afford lunch money, or in the case of rural Jamaica in particular, the cost of transportation to and from school for children. Which is why we have developed the EASE program, which will ensure that any child that needs that help will get at least one hot, nutritious meal at school every day that they attend school. And that's at primary and secondary school. We're starting with that, but we intend to also offer breakfast as well as resources become available and the economy improves. And in terms of rural transportation for schoolers, we have the RIDE program where we're starting with a subsidy to subsidize transportation costs for students from traditional poverty by making it easier for students from lower income families to attend college or university. One aspect of that is reforming the Student Loan Bureau so that some of the fear that people have in borrowing money to invest in their education can be eliminated. We do not think that the risk of poor economic conditions and a poor job market should be borne by our students. The state must bear that risk because it's our responsibility for delivering a strong economy. So if we intend to change the loan terms for student loan borrowers to cap their monthly payment at an affordable percentage of their actual income, and to the extent that they go through a period where they're not working and are unable to pay, so that their credit is not damaged, and they can rest assured that once they're back on their feet and resume paying, they'll be okay. We also intend to have remove taxes from digital devices for students and teachers, whether it be tablets or laptops, because we do not see why the government should be charging tax on these fundamental tools for learning in the country. And then we have the First in Family program. And the First in Family program is designed to tackle intergenerational poverty by saying that if you are the first person from your family to have
internet I get problem tonight. But I said I'm going to interfere with things, man. Why the problem?
so that you can attend and complete your tertiary education. And our idea there is that that student coming from that family will help to raise the standards, the conditions, the prospects of their loved ones and their family, and reduce the risk of poverty transcending from one generation to the next. Education is the antidote to poverty. And we want to encourage our teachers to stay in the Jamaican classrooms. And yes, salaries are an important component of that. And, we intend to tackle that as best we can, given the fiscal realities. But there are other things that we want to do to show our respect and honor our teachers. We want to, for example, have special arrangements where they are given priority when it comes to housing developed by any.
Say people them are dead for hungry. I go up on the plaza and everybody are beg. Me say me want me say try to
Features that we will negotiate with an internet service provider, and we want to give them attractive motor vehicle concessions, which increase in value the longer they stay in the system as teachers, and to reduce their student loan debt the longer they stay in the system as teachers by reducing their principal balance for each year of service.
Imagine that nowadays. They talking like
these are the some of our package of measures
you know,
that we have come up with.
Today's younger day, me have appetite
staying
for
in the
KFC.
teaching profession
And me
more
not a
attractive.
one time me say love
So,
KFC,
ladies and
KFC
gentlemen,
like again.
comrades and friends, our democracy must breathe. Our young people must believe. Our families must be able to live, work, and dream in Jamaica again. We are not here to beg.
Something wrong, man. Somebody interfere with this thing
Better.
tonight.
We are here to rescue Jamaica. Time come.
I sat there taking notes, and I think it is imperative that I caucus this room to see if what resonated with me resonated with you. So I have a simple instruction. So I'm going to tell you what resonated with me, and you can respond with championing change if it resonated with you. Cool? So our leader just presented on housing solutions. 50,000 affordable housing units. Your response is championing change. We spoke about recapitalizing the NHT, and 1 second, you're early. And reverting the NHT back to its original mandate. The People's National Party is for the informally employed and otherwise unable to do so. The People's National Party.
The girl pretty, you know, man.
He spoke about health and education. The People's National Party. So you have just heard a powerful reminder that what's at stake here is bigger than any one person or party. Because what's on the ballot is the future of Jamaica. So please give a round of applause to our leader of the opposition and party president. So I have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Andre Horton, our next presenter, who told me that he'll be speaking on technology and its role in macroeconomic development. Now, what I've always admired about Dr. Horton, because he was at UU and I was as a lecturer, is his ability to break down these big, intimidating terms so that regular people like me, you and I, can understand. And so please make welcome Dr. Andre Horton.
The PNP internet I get trouble, man. A JLP I do it now. A JLP
Waiting for that
sabotage.
introduction. Comrades on the platform, comrade leader, my other colleagues, PNP at heart, welcome. Before I get into technology, I just want you to know that we won the court case where my posters are concerned.
Hey, Andrew, better.
There are no going back up. So we're looking good. The People's National Party, we have some really good lawyers, and we know the law.
We know the law. We know the law.
We don't intend to be bullied by small-minded people. We intend to stand our ground, and we intend to stand up.
There might be something to your life. And that end up me know, say, and I just saw it ago.
We are in grave danger as a nation. And I say so because when you look at how our economy has been managed, especially over the last 9-10
We
years,
don't have no economy.
you recognize
A
that
KFC, ironically.
there has not been a focus on doing what is necessary to improve the lives of the average Jamaican. We have seen where our unemployment rate, as reported by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, is one of the lowest that we've seen in many decades. It's about 4-point-something%. As economists, when we compare this unemployment rate to the
Come on, PNP, you know, say something I go wrong with in life.
rate in inflationary rate. And what do we mean? The unemployment rate is very low. However, if you scrutinize the numbers, you would realize that gross domestic product, which is GDP, the amount of people being employed on an annual basis, has increased, but the amount of goods that we're producing has remained the same. Now, in economics, we differentiate between what we call the intensive and the extensive margin. The extensive margin is when you hire more people and these people produce more goods. The intensive margin is when you use the existing amount of people to produce more goods. Now, Jamaica has exhausted what we call the extensive margin because, as you realize, most extensive margin. Now, what this means is that we need the people who are currently working to produce more via the intensive margin. And this intensive margin is considered to be an increase in your productivity that increases your output. And the number one factor that contributes to the increase in the extensive margin is technology. When you look at the Asian tigers, you look at countries like China, you look at countries like South Korea, whose GDP back in 1950s was $158 per person. Today, South Korea's GDP per capita is over $34,000 per person. And how were they able to accomplish this? You look at really important choices to improve the lives of their people. Among those choices was one, they made a pledge to retain the youngest and the brightest. And not only to retain them, but to attract outsiders who are young and bright to contribute to the development of that country. Today, Singapore boasts one of the most technologically advanced economies in the world. And sometimes when we juxtapose the Jamaican scenario with Singapore, it sounds cliche. However, if you recognize that both of us have the same potential, and Jamaican people also has the ability that has been displayed by a lot of these Asian people, but guess what happens? People in Jamaica feel disenfranchised from the productive process. Many of us believe that our voices are not being heard in the right places, and even if our voices are heard in the right places, we are not being given the ability to towards the holistic advancement of the particular industries in which we work. And as a result, many of us find it easier to get employment abroad, take a flight, go to the United States. We get 4 times the amount of income. We get more appreciation for the effort that we put in, and our abilities are better compensated and accepted. But today, I stand here to say to you that this People's National Party government has recognized that. And I am a symbol of how the People's National Party has entrusted their real understanding and their understanding of who we are, and an entrusted responsibility on our young people. You have myself, you have young Waynet here, you have young Senator Gabriel Morris, and a host of other young people that the PNP has given voice in this political movement and has empowered us with the ability to say that yes, young people, they're in Jamaica. And these are things that we cannot overlook, right? Because we want to ensure that just as our Singapore were able to move their GDP per capita from less than $1,000 per person to over $100,000 per person, just as how other countries have been able to improve their GDP per capita, Jamaica too has the ability. Our current GDP per capita stands at about $7,000 per person per annum. In order for us to achieve our Vision 2030 goals, we need our GDP per capita to move from that 7,000 per person to at least 13,000 per person, which means that 7 plus 7, 14, right? So we need GDP per capita to practically double in less than 6 years. Now, my research has shown that this is going to and we can evolve. In mathematics, what we say that when you have a particular economy moving in a particular trajectory, there are no points of discontinuity, but there are turning points and change in trajectory. And that is what the People's National Party means when we say that we want to rescue Jamaica. We want to increase the income of the average citizen, and we want to improve how much each person earns per capita per annum, and that is fundamental. Now, how are we going to achieve this? We're going to achieve this through science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. We are already entrepreneurs, and we already have our innovative approach to every type of industry in this.
And BOJ have no issue. Alright, let me change.
Moving into the fourth and the fifth industrial revolution at the same time. And
one moment, let me see what's going on.
South Korea were jumping on the technology boat. Jamaica jumped on the banana boat. And that has restricted our ability to generate real true income for our people. And we've said it many times, Singapore and Jamaica export a container of chips. The value of Singapore's container of chips, $100 million. It's the same container, right? The value of Singapore's container of chips, $100 million. The value of Jamaica's container of chips, a measly $50,000. The difference here is that Singapore exported a container of microchips while Jamaica exported a container of banana chips. And we have to, as a country, evolve from the banana chips mentality, something that we economists refer to as the plantation economy. It's just a different figure of speech. It's just a different way of articulating the same point. But we must now begin to appreciate the ambition of our people. And what we're seeing is that the government boasts so much about low unemployment is that they really don't get the picture of the ambition that dwells within each Jamaican and what is it that we want for ourselves, our communities, our towns and cities, and by far our country. So when they talk about minimum wage and they speak about increasing it from $15,000 per week to $16,000 per week, that's $100 per week. That's $400 per month. 12 4 is 48. Oh my God, if you're working minimum wage, it means that you're working about $5,000 per year. And it sounds a bit trivial, doesn't it? Hard working Jamaicans, well thinking Jamaicans, Jamaicans with ambition to be their best selves, are restricted to the idea of minimum wage.
Yeah,
This
we are
PNP
watching, man.
government
A
has
bright boy.
recognized that minimum wage cannot take us far, that exhausting the extensive margin and employing our people for twopence, I say name? Twopence?
And our two pence.
Employing our people for twopence is a 1960s,
Two
1860s, 1760s type of mentality. The world is now using the Internet of Things, using the fourth and the fifth industrial revolution to create what we call unicorns. Unicorns are companies that make over $1 billion in no time. When you look at Jamaica's GDP, our GDP is about $18 billion. We can round it off to 20. And it has been the government's ambition since they came into power in 2016 to achieve 5% growth. They dubbed it 5 in 4, and they wanted to achieve that 5% growth by 2020, right? It is now 2025, and we're still stuck at our usual 1% growth. It shows you gross mismanagement of the macroeconomy, right? And its lack of understanding, because when they came with the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, we recognized the flaw and said that ministry, if it is to be articulated properly, should be the Ministry of Wealth Creation and Economic Development, because those two phrases are the phrases that are going to allow employment to take place and, most fundamentally, GDP growth to take place. So we're talking about technology. We need technology in education to help our students to learn. We need them now to move from that 18% who graduate with CXCs to at least 70% graduating with CXCs. We need proper AI systems to check and balance all the students coming from the communities who are going to school to be registered at school, to make sure that they are in class learning, and also support services. Because as an educator myself, I can tell you that there is a silent revolution taking place in how people are educated. The days of dictating to people and chalk and cheese and so on, it's a thing of the past. These students are learning far faster than we are, and they have far greater resources, and it's up to us not to belittle technology and keep Jamaica behind, but it's up to us to embrace technology learning and to give our young people the foundation that they need, and to support them using artificial intelligence, because many teachers believe that artificial intelligence is going to compete with the student and also compete with them. No. Artificial intelligence is a tool that is going to allow the students to learn more information per unit of time, and allowing them to become more productive. Because productivity and the intensive margin is what our aim should be geared towards extending. Technology in finance, very important. We're losing the ability of cash to move quickly. Gone are the days you want to transact business and you send the money through the bank transfer, and the person is in the line waiting from 9 p.m. You send the money from 8 a.m. in the morning, and sometimes it goes through, sometimes it does not. We need financial solutions that are quick and right on spot. And the People's National Party recognize this, because we need fintech solutions. We can't say, okay, somebody wants to do something in Montego Bay. We go to the bank 9 a.m. in the morning. We send the money is not going to them until 3 p.m. that afternoon. That is slowing up the locomotion of the lifeblood of the economy, which is money. So financial technology is going to be very important if this country wants transactions to move faster and they want more output per unit of time. We love the agricultural industry, and technology in agriculture is number one on our list as well. Our leader spoke of it. He's going to prepare an agriculture fund, and this fund is going to be used to improve how technology is assisting the agricultural industry to grow. Jamaica agricultural industry depends on water, it depends on the inputs, right? And it faces challenges, drought sometime, flood sometime. Prices are high in July, prices are high in December. Price is high in July because of drought. Price is high in December because of flood rains that damage the crops. We need now these micro dams that Michael Manley spoke about. They are relevant in the 1970s and they are now relevant in 2025 with the infusion of smart technology that will track and monitor how water is distributed to these crops, that will allow us to grow more crops per unit of time, allow us to grow more crops per space, because technology has assisted many countries around the world to improve their agricultural output, and technology will allow Jamaica to improve its agricultural output. Fundamental technology. In healthcare, one of my uncles died yesterday. He went to the Cornwall Regional Hospital. He was healthy on Sunday. All of us eat Sunday dinner, all a good time. Yesterday morning, him say him chest a tighten up, and him go Cornwall Regional Hospital, and by 8 p.m. him dead. This is very disheartening to me. I'm standing here in front of you with tears in the back of my eyes, because the healthcare system, and we cannot reiterate how this government is PRing their way through the healthcare system while innocent Jamaicans are dying left, right, and center.
True.
And
True that.
well-thinking people like ourselves are standing on the sidelines and are saying that, oh, and that is a problem I have with nationwide news too. Because when Cliff Hughes talk about Christopher Tufton, oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread, oh, is it this, is it that? And then when we go on this program to talk, oh, it's because you're unpopular, why you come on the station, rare. It's like they approach them who are not doing anything with a positive mind, and us who mean the country so much, they try to infuse negative when they try to speak to us, and I don't like it. I don't like it. And that is the problem that we've had with a lot of these people who are not fair in how they go about discussing the business of the country. And those are the things that have held Jamaica back. And it will continue to hold us back if we don't hold these people accountable with their biased utterances.
I agree.
Comrades, technology is important to every single industry.
That's where we are
What
now.
we have done thus far is to map out all the industries and how technology can help them to grow. We have to develop a spatial plan that looks at all the industries in every parish. And as I said to you before, if we have a GDP of $20 billion, all it takes for it to increase by 5% is to grow it by $1 billion per year. The same billion of which we speak. And we have the plans. If we have 14 parish, it means that we only need, say, less than 100 billion per parish in order for us to grow by that 5%. Westmoreland alone, when we improve and increase the ability for us to earn from nutraceutical products, from pharmaceutical products, and we create the industry, Westmoreland
We have a plan in Akimon.
will give us the ability to grow by 5%, let alone the other parishes. Believe in the People's National Party plans, believe in our ability to articulate our plans and to infuse our plans, and believe in your own potential, because the People's National Party is here to provide the resources that would catapult you and your family, not just to get jobs, not just to become a part of the working poor, but for you to elevate from the lower class to the middle class, and from the middle class to the upper class. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Lots of blessings and keep positive every time.
And then comment, you see, man. Them labor right there.
That was inspiring, wasn't it? So because you're so inspiring, I'm going to return your phone. So, thank you, Dr. Horton, for that inspiring, captivating, and simple but elevating. Simple but not simplistic. Was I right when I told you he was able to break down those intimidating terms? And so thank you for breaking it down so clearly. Real economic growth happens at the intensive margin when we use technology to improve how we work and what we produce. And at the extensive
Yeah, I
margin,
see say
when we
one
bring
time
more
come.
Jamaicans, especially our youth, into the economy. That's the kind of inclusive, tech-driven future the People's National Party
You see, I
is
don't have
committed to building. So
constituency
a
of
round of
Fitz
applause
Road
to
too.
Dr. Andre Horton once more. So on the 5Gs of the cultural economy, we have Dr. Deborah Hickling Gordon, Shadow Minister on Culture and Creative Industries, coming to us. Please make her feel welcome. And we ask for her presentation at this time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Them are mad out already.
Party leader, colleagues, all. As Andre said, those who are comrade-minded, ladies and gentlemen. One of the things that I have found out going around the country supporting a number of the candidates who are running for the People's National Party, as I'm not running myself, but I have put myself forward as the representative for the cultural and creative industries. That's my non-geographical constituency. I found that there are a lot of people who don't know what the cultural and creative industries actually are. So I'm going to use an example to see if I can get everyone in this room, particularly those of us from our movement, to understand exactly how the two concepts come together. Last week, a song dropped. It came out of a movement. It came out of a heart movement to rescue Jamaica. It came out of a fervor.
Yeah, man, it sound bad.
People who had said enough is enough.
Me go look back good,
And this
Pana.
song is not a new song. It's not a contemporary song. It come from a long time.
Long time.
And those of us who sang it, or those who sang it, because I wasn't one of them, those who sang it before know what it means. And it have deep and resonant meaning. And it has deep and resonant meaning to people.
Tell Chuck
who
me
are
for me.
of the People's National
Tell
Party.
Chuck. Tell Chuck.
Because that's who they are. That's who we are. The ideas encapsulated in that song are about what we feel and we know and we think instinctively, right? But then we remix the song. And a new generation come and take up on being a blood and fire comrade. And it means something different to this new generation. It means commitment in our blood. It means passion as fire, right? That's all it means. And anybody who tries to change the meaning of that can come out and walk with us as we seek to rescue Jamaica.
Yeah, thank you for making me here.
No. That's what culture and creative industries is. It is what we feel, what we know, who we are, what we believe, what we do, how we behave, how we think, how we move. But it is also the production of that expression into a tangible form that we can listen to, that we can hear, that we can post, that we can send, that we can sell. Yes, and that's the creative economy side, because we're creating value out of what we feel. Now, that's culture and creative industries, and it's time we take it seriously. It's time we recognize that there's great value in that process
Yeah.
of taking what we feel
Yes.
and understanding that what we feel is not something that we need to be ashamed of because it's not empirical and because we can't count it and because we can't hold it and we can't feel it because it's of us. Yeah? And that's why we have to invest in it. So that's culture and creative industries. I'm an audiovisual, everything. I have been a television producer for many years, so I think in pictures and I think in visuals. And so I want to share a little presentation with you. We're at a turning point, ladies and ladies and gentlemen, Jamaicans all. The next administration is going to determine how the cultural and creative sector urgently receives the required structured investment, formalization, and development to grow. In order to grow, these are the things it's going to require. And I usually say when I'm speaking to people, particularly people in civil society, that whatever government comes to power, and we know which it will be, there is going to have to be a level of investment in culture and creative industries, and we're going to have to grasp it and be clear about that. And so we have to understand what that means. What we did is we put together a team. The party leader named a spokesperson's team, and we put together a task force. And we looked at the culture and creative industries, who we are, and the creative expression that exists. And we decided that it was clear 10 years ago, Most Honorable Portia Simpson Miller came to understand that the thing was fragmented. There were a number of different voices that were speaking to the issues of culture and creative expression. And she put together what she called the National Cultural and Creative Industries Commission. And it brought all the ministries, there were 6 of them together, to deal with putting together policy. But other thing she did, which was really revolutionary and important, is that she decided that we needed to get all of the professional organizations in culture, music, art, the filmmakers, the persons in media and so on, bring them together so that they would be a part of the decision making. And some of the ministers who were there at that time are in this room at the moment. And they all came together and started to put together a framework. We left this framework for this government in 2016. We also left a number of ideas, including the ideas coming out of the Ministry of Tourism and Entertainment, like the special entertainment zones that Damian Crawford had authored. And there were other programs coming out of the Ministry of Youth and Culture that were very, very important in terms of determining who we were. And we wanted to bring them all together under a framework. The Prime Minister did that through the NCCIC. Now, 10 years later, that commission has never, ever met. Not once. It was not recommissioned. And what that means is that there has been very little, and certainly very little formal participatory governance in terms of an institutional framework for cultural and creative practitioners to be a part of the decision making for their sector. And this is one of the first things that we are going to seek to do, to bring back the National Cultural and Creative Industries Commission to ensure that cultural and creative practitioners are a part of their own decision making. Now, this team that was put together, we started to look at what Comrade Julian Robinson spoke to us about in terms of the sustainable growth strategy, education, energy, emerging industries, and efficiency. And most of us are represented here today. Emerging industries would include technology and the cultural and creative industries. So we took that on, and we took on the party leader's notion of what he meant when he said he wanted to see change, and we started to look at the cultural and creative industries. And one of the things that I found most of all is that the cultural and creative industries, there's a major issue in culture and creative industries. There are some people who believe in art for art's sake and culture on its own, and culture as something that is organic and is a part of us and should not be included in the issues of money and economy, which you see on the other side of the scale. As a government, as a modern government, one of the things that we have to do is find the appropriate balance. And so that's another one of the issues that we have found that we're going to be using to move the culture and creative industries forward. Because we can't neglect the notion that we're in a situation where we have to be growing our economy. And in growing our economy, we have to diversify our economy. And that simply means, as Andre said, we need to be finding new ways to be able to grow our economy. And the cultural and creative industries is one of those. Why? Because it is our competitive and comparative advantage. And what that means is we do it well. We spread our culture and creative industries to the world, and people know us for it. Whenever we go anywhere in the world, somebody's going to say to us, Bob Marley, or they're going to say to us, Usain Bolt. These are the people who become important as a part of the cultural and creative sector. So we have to find the balance. It is a $3 trillion US industry.
Wow.
At the moment, based on some of the calculations that have been done, it's up to about over 9% of GDP, anywhere between 5 and 9. But the problem is we don't know, because the work has not been done in the last 10 years to determine what the real value of culture and creative industries is. So that's another thing that we have to do, that has to become another priority as we seek to find the balance. The other thing is, we have to define what culture and creative industries are. 20 sectors, ladies and gentlemen. 20 subsectors of the cultural economy. Media, music, audiovisual, and each one of these subsectors has over 3 industries, which means we have at least 60 industries from the culture and creative industries. Now, if we look at 60 industries, building out 60 industries, we see an immediate path to growth. When we put together the elements of the emerging industries, we see that we are well over 20% of GDP. We have to formalize these figures. We have to ensure that the numbers are clear, but very little work has been done to put these figures together in the last 10 years. Why? There's been no policy. There's been no plan. There's been no strategy. There's been no structure. And this is why, as the party leader said in his presentation to Parliament, that cultural and creative industries, they continue to grow, but in spite of government intervention, because very little is done to coalesce the culture and creative industries. So there are a number of things that we have to do. These are some of the things that we need to do. We need to create a strong ethical base. We hear the songs on the radio. The other day, I was driving down the road and I stopped beside a bus. The bus black, tint up. And I can't even begin to tell you some of the music that was coming out of the bus. And we know that there are laws should prevent that. But there also has to be an element from a cultural perspective to see how we can make some of those changes and influence some of the change that is required in terms of an ethical base in our cultural and creative industries. We need a national framework. We need to eliminate what we see now as arbitrary projects, projects that have no real end game. So you have a very important insurance scheme that we would have mooted as a part of our framework in 2015, but without a sustainability framework. Yeah, you see, there are career schemes with no throughput to where the children who go to the career fair and watch the career fair and have a great time. What do they do next? How do they now know how they are going to move forward in their careers? We need a facilitatory government role, which means we need the government to be able to facilitate and assist cultural and creative practitioners to move themselves forward, whether they have been round robins, or they are having a sound system, or they are a filmmaker, or they are a TikToker. That one has been getting a lot of attention lately. Whether they're making music or beats, or they're into art, or they're into some of the other technical areas, animation and so on. We need to be able to engage the private sector to have it understand how important culture and creative industries, and we need to be moving towards social integration. So how we're going to do it? When we started our work, one of the things that we determined is that there are a lot of prescriptions, and have been for over a decade, as to how to grow the culture and creative industries. But as to what needs to happen, and we decided that we were going to take a look at how we were going to do it. And we decided that we're going to create a roadmap to culture, a roadmap to moving towards development of culture and creative industries. And we're starting with nurturing greatness. Every time we go around the country, we see all these people who have this phenomenal talent. Yeah. And there's no throughput. There's no way for them to move their talent forward. It's not a clear path. So we want to be able to put in programs, and we have a series of them that's going to help individuals matriculate right through the system to be able to participate in culture and creative industries. And like I say, each one of these has a number of programs to achieve these particular goals. The second one is to ground cultural and creative industries in the communities. In the past decade, culture has been absolutely removed from the communities and has been centralized. Yeah. So we want to see the JCDC back in the communities. Yes. We want to see the municipal councils having more street dances at the end for the special holidays. We want to see the float parades back in the communities. We want to see the community centers being used in ways that culture and creative industries and sport and social transformation programs and citizen security programs all come together to ensure that our communities come alive again. I recently moved to a rural community, and I am saddened. I'm really saddened by the ways in which our rural communities have lost their verve, have lost some of their energy, and it's really important and incumbent on us. As we move around the country too, I've been to a couple of constituencies where we recognize that each constituency has its own cultural flavor. And there is the means by which we can have creative or cultural districts. So when I went to Comrade Pat's constituency, we toured the entire area of where Bedward and got the full story of Bedward. But guess what? See the grass here? On top of Bedward's grave, you can't get to the grave. And the same is true for most of the heritage sites around the country. It is heart-rending, heartbreaking to see some of it. Comrade Ethne, we went to Comrade Ethne, and it's a different flavor. Entrepreneurship right across the Henny Park. On one corner you have a museum, on another corner you have a bar, on another corner you have a place where it's really a dust bowl at the moment. But we sat and we spoke about it. Why we can't have a creative district in the Henny Park where you leave the museum and go to the bar, and then there's a performance at the over where is now a dust bowl? Why can't we be using these spaces in order to create wealth and to create value for people within communities? So that's the second one, and that's the one I'm really most passionate about in terms of materializing. The third one is going for growth, putting in the structures. This is a technical one. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I'm not going to try to explain it here, but it's a very technical process of trying to onboard cultural and creative industries as a part of the economy. It's something that I've spoken a great deal with about with the party leader, who understands this process, because this is what he does. He's a solutions man, and this is one of the areas. It's going to take a lot of research. It's going to take a lot of legislation, and this is where the $1 billion fund comes in, where we're going to be growing businesses, cultural and creative businesses, from little small businesses of all cultural and creative stripes. Yes, from every sector. And we're going to be ensuring that they're getting technical assistance. We're going to be ensuring that they're getting loans and grants, and that they're going to be able to move forward, move their businesses forward. The fourth node is governance. Now, that's actually one of the biggest problems we have in cultural and creative industries. It's not the sexiest, but it is the most critical, because we have a problem with transparency, a big problem with transparency. We don't know a lot about what's happening within the administrative bodies, institutions that run culture and creative industries, and a lot of times those questions are asked and there is a blank wall. So, for example, I've asked about Vale Royal and its contents, and at this point, I'm yet to hear what the situation is with that. And there are many other questions about transparency, inclusion. People who complain about being blacklisted can't get emails that are not being answered. People who feel that they can't go to the ministry because, although it is said there is an open door policy that is only friend and company, and some people, right, that the inclusion issues at the ministry, there are real problems, and they're easily denied. I have an open door policy. Yeah, they're easily denied, but there are people who quietly will tell you the truth. And the last one is going global, and that is about creating an enabling environment that allows for trade, marketing, helping cultural and creative practitioners.
She said the legislation will put in place. It's not an overnight thing, but these are plans.
Of a body called Jamaica Creative. We're going to redesign it and rework it so that it provides investment services, so that investment readiness services, so that businesses can now start to bring they can start to bring their businesses to trade in local and overseas markets. It's also, I spoke to a comrade today, Ricky Chin, and we spoke about things like creating IP facilitation in that unit, so that all of those artists who have had major problems in the past with their intellectual property and collecting royalties across the world, that we look at working with JIPO to see how we can assist some of them to repatriate some of those funds. But what I want to say as I wrap up is that one of the things that has been missing from the process of cultural and creative industries and administration has been a holistic examination, looking at the whole picture, understanding that technology can't work without creativity, because you can't have animation without the soundtrack, you can't have animation without the design, you can't have animation without the various technical elements, the various creative elements, the storyline. And everything we do here in cultural and creative industries is about telling a story in a different way. And we have stories galore in this country. We have more stories than we can ever imagine. I remember saying to my sister the other day that if we were to just take the stories and try and find different media through which to create those stories, just one story at a time, how much value we could create in this country. And that value is not only monetary value, because again, I end where I started. That value of the story translated to a product or a service, it tells us and allows us to share locally and in the diaspora who we are. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to leave you with the final film. If the conscious our spirit, our strength, and it's time we treat it that way. PNP introduces Project Action, a 5G cultural economy strategy. It's the beating heart of the PNP's 4E Sustainable Growth Plan and Emerging Industry. We begin by nurturing greatness, building cultural confidence, protecting heritage, nurturing talent at every level, grounding, reviving the cultural soul and the economy of communities and towns island-wide. Structuring the cultural economy to unlock wealth through creative enterprises, backed by a preliminary $1 billion development fund. Good governance, bringing structure, fairness, participation, coordination, clarity, inclusion, and in particular transparency to cultural leadership. Global reach, expanding our influence through strategy, investment, infrastructure, technology, and trade. This is Jamaica's time. This is Jamaica's plan. This is Project Change.
Wonderful.
Our culture is our competitive and comparative advantage. A round of applause for our presenter, Shadow Minister Dr. Deborah Hickling-Gordon. Housekeeping, kind reminder that we are streaming live. You are in the palms and in the homes of hundreds of people. So please adjust yourselves to that reality so that we don't have any screenshots or screen grabs of things you wouldn't want to otherwise see on the internet, yes? Also, kind reminder to please have your phones on silent. And also, we welcome our online audience and to the People's Forum. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and also let us know what's resonating with you so far. I saw some insightful comments, and I just want to, these usernames are very funny, but I just want to acknowledge Funny Bunny, Dennis Williams, and Lady J Love. Thank you for being so interactive. We now welcome our final presenter to bring what he terms an electrifying presentation to you. And he is, I don't think I need to, he's the energy boss himself. He's final presenter to bring what he terms an electrifying presentation to you. And he is I don't think I need to. He's the energy boss himself. He's Philip Paul, Shadow Minister on Energy and Climate Change.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. I greet the future Prime Minister of Jamaica, my colleague panelists, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I believe you've gotten more than enough reasons to vote for the PNP already this evening.
Yes.
Such absorbing, informative, dynamic presentation as from our party leader and from two persons who remind me when I was youthful, etc. So I am not going to in any way try to give a fulsome presentation at this stage, because the important aspect of this forum is also to hear from you. And so at the end of my presentation, you're going to see a QR code appearing on the screen. Just take a photograph of that. It is going to take you to my website where you'll see the presentation among other presentations. Because we have not been here just opposing. We have been planning to return to government, and that's where we are now. Things are tough for the Jamaican people. Times are hard. Our cost of living has been a tremendous burden to our poor people. And you know, I'm a 6th term member of parliament going for my 7th term. And my most challenging term has been this term. People used to come, yes, they need help to going back to school. We assist them with roofs because those get damaged. But it's the first term.
You're answering question tonight, Clue, where your name, Planet, something like that.
Say MP.
We just have tuned into this tonight, just listen.
I want some food. And these guys, they don't understand why people are going to vote them out, you know. Because people are suffering, people are hungry.
I'm tired.
And this hollering of prosperity, pun intended, aggravates people. You know, it is in the era of energy that we have seen the tremendous impact of cost of living. And it's twofold, because yes, as consumers of electric energy at home, we have seen from 2016 when the price of electricity was about 23 US cents per kilowatt hour, 2016. To today, it's 40 cents and climbing. And that affects everything else.
Yes.
So when you go to buy sugar, when you go to take a taxi, it affects all the goods and services that we produce. And it is also largely responsible for our lack of growth. So it's two things. You have the cost of living going up, driven largely by energy, and you have no growth taking place. So even those persons who are employed, their income is not improving because there is stagnation in our economy. And today we are presenting
Good night.
Certain, I believe, clear strategy to address that. And I welcome this, even though I would have preferred to have a debate with the Minister of Energy. So I'm using this opportunity to once again to call out Darrell. Come and debate me in front of our studio audience where people can ask questions and we can answer questions. We have a lot of work to do. And there are certain things operating in our favor. Firstly, we have the emerging JPSCO license that in many respects, has prevented us from doing some of the things that we want to do. But unlike the cable and wireless license, which still would have been running because that license would have expired in 2038. And thank God we had a government that had a vision. And as I say that, I'm so happy to say Yvonne McCullough-Sobers, who was the first chairman of the e-learning company, and of course, they were twins with Universal Service Fund, and I and the government were the proud parents of those two institutions that continue to serve the country. Very good to see Yvonne. But an important date is emerging when the government of Jamaica, by the 7th of July, must indicate to JPSCO what it is going to be doing with the license. And all I'm hearing is that consultations are taking place. This consultation, if I were a minister, would have taken place in 2023. And we'll be in a position today to say to JPSCO, here is the plan. Here are the negotiating terms we are proposing. And just as we did with Cable and Wireless, to sit down and to make sure that the Jamaican people benefit in the long run. And what are some of the things we want to do? Firstly, when you go to pay your electricity bills today, 20% of that bill is not from electricity that you use, you know. It is from electricity theft.
Yeah.
And I really believe that in this day and age, electricity must be a right, and it must be afforded to those persons who can't afford it. And there are solutions to that. We have seen, and by the way, there are about 200 to 300,000 households that cannot afford electricity. I hope I'm saying that right, Paul Burke. We have seen, because we did it, when we established the first solar farm in Jamaica, in Wigton, in Content, in Clarendon, where you can generate electricity at a fraction of the cost. And today, with the improvement in the technology for solar panels, and the price has come down, with the improvement in the technology for inverters that convert the solar into direct energy, and very importantly, with the improvement in the technology for storage. That was a problem that we faced with renewables. That yes, the sun shines only in the daytime, the wind sometimes don't blow, but we could not capture and store that energy for when the sun is down or the wind is not blowing. We have seen in the last 5 years, the government hasn't seen it, has it? But we have seen the dramatic improvement.
The government
in the
blind, they can't say
for
nothing.
storage, batteries, so that today, if you have enough batteries, you can be supplying electricity for 24/7. And we're going to be utilizing solar to effect rapid changes in those communities that cannot afford electricity. And we're going to be establishing mini grids using solar, and we're going to be enabling our people who can't afford it, who have to be running and hiding when they see police coming, to pull down the wires. That would be a thing of the past. But very importantly, we want to empower you, every single Jamaican. And I'm going to tell you why it won't put JPS out of business. But we want to empower you to generate your own electricity. And that is what we call power for the people.
Yes.
Power for the people. And we are coming up with a creative scheme to assist you in funding. Not going to be entirely free. But the good thing about what we are planning to do is that we are going to enable you as well, apart from providing your own electricity, to generate sufficient so that you can sell additional electricity to the grid. So you're becoming a producer rather than just a consumer of electricity. we say power for the people. Power to the people. And then there are some other things that we have to do in the reforms that will have to occur. Right now, JPSCO has this right of first refusal. So that whenever you need additional capacity, they have a preferred right. We have to abolish that. You know I believe in competition. So it's going to be subject to full competition, and whoever comes with the best technology and the cheapest price will be those generation that will be procured and will be supplied to the grid. So that's one area. Secondly, we believe that our special economic zones have not done as well as was intended because of the high cost of electricity. We believe that as we move for growth, we have to empower these zones to generate their own electricity. And so there's going to be a special carve-out, just as though each of you will be able to do your own generation. We're going to empower those people who operate in the special economic zone to generate their own electricity as well. There are so many other aspects of energy that we really ought to talk about, but I'm mindful of the time. So let me now shift a little to two important areas. The environment, and the environment is not a third cousin. It's going to be front and center to all that we do as a government. And of course, climate change. The environment, we have a tremendous responsibility. Recognizing that whatever we do to increase our capacity to grow would have a negative impact on the environment. But we are all about sustainable growth. And I know whenever a cabinet submission is placed before Mark Golding, he's going to be asking 2 or 3 critical questions. What impact will this have on our environment? And how are we going to mitigate that impact? He's also going to be asking Floyd, what impact will this have on our disabled community and the elderly? Right? But we're talking about the environment now. We have to ensure that our laws are enforced, because we do have elaborate laws, detailed laws that are not being observed. So recently, they went into my constituency and at Fort Rock, and overnight they dug up the mangrove without regard to the law and to the environment. That can't work any longer. That will not work any longer. We have to ensure that where people are allowed to mine, they mine there, and leave the other areas so they can be preserved for future generations. I'll say a word about climate change. Now, many people hear about climate change and they don't understand how it relates to you, your lives. Climate change is an existential threat to mankind, and it is as serious as that. And unlike the environment, where we have greater control and we have a tremendous responsibility, our contribution to climate change is minuscule. We don't generate enough industrial activity to affect the tremendous growth in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, or to the greenhouse gas effect that results in the earth warming at record levels. So we're experiencing more drought, more ferocious hurricanes, etc., etc. These are things that the first world countries ought to bear a greater burden and responsibility to deal with. And they're not. Unfortunately, we are hearing only one voice in our region who speak about this. Thank God we have the Prime Minister of Barbados. But that used to be Jamaica's role. That used to be Jamaica's position. And we need to see it in the very same way as Norman Manley and Michael saw apartheid. That you have to mobilize the world community You have to articulate, and you have to go and fight and struggle for the industrialized countries to recognize that it can't be business as usual for them, but very importantly, that they need to put in place corrective measures for mitigation and so on. And I believe that they are being let off the hook. And they've been let off the hook by our government as well. And we need to be bold and fierce in saying to these industrialized countries, you have to take greater responsibility for what is imminent, what is going to destroy mankind in climate change. It's such a pleasure to be here in front of you. I hope your energy is still high. Thank you very much.
The People's National Party is giving power to the people. Just a kind reminder, so fitting, there's a QR code on the screen. Please scan to read more from our Shadow Minister on Energy and Climate. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, we've heard powerful presentations tonight grounded in vision and data and rooted in the values we believe will move Jamaica forward. And so now it's your turn. We're going to be opening up the floor for the people session because your voice matters, your questions deserve answers, and this movement is built with you, not just for you. And so a few housekeeping rules which I believe I need to establish so that we can have free and fair questions and answers. So keep it respectful, that's one. Once you identify yourself, we have a roving mic on my left and on my right, and we also should have a mic in the middle where you can, okay, no problem, where you can go to and ask your questions. We ask that you keep your questions to maximum 2. Please be direct with who you're directing your questions to. Please identify your name, well, identify yourselves and the group that you're from. So whether you are from a civil group, whether you are just a citizen, whether you are from a party group, we'll also be taking questions online if we're able to. And so you can consider the floor open, and we have our first question on my right, your left.
First of all, I want to say hi to my former student, Mr. Philip Hallwell, Excelsior High School. Oh yes. Good to see you, sir. I just want to make a comment. I am
Alright guys, I am going to end the live. I'm going to send you, go over the PNP page where I'm streaming from and go and watch the remainder of it. I really want to sleep, I'm tired. Love you guys, thank you for joining, and I'll catch you later on. Bye.
Especially Jamaican people, they love nice things. They love to look pretty and look beautiful, and we do. I think we're the better looking party.
We are the better looking party.
Way. And secondly, I want to commend this particular exercise because for me, for the first time, I'm hearing what the People's National Party will be doing when we get into power. And the last thing I'm going to say, did you notice that they had no scripts? Brilliant. And I think everybody who presented did so very well. Time come. Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Check. Okay.
All right, guys. Bye.
Following your beautiful commendations, I would have